Hello, my love. For many of us, if not all of us, divorce feels like death. And many of you come to me and say, I feel like I have died, like part of me have died, because it's true. But what to do next? That's what we're going to talk about today. So you feel like a part of you has died. It has died, without a question. When you really think about how significant it is to be married to someone and what actually happens in a marriage and then all of that goes away, yeah, it is death when we get divorced. When the shared dream that we had for our future, when the daily rhythm that you have built together with your ex-husband, when all of that goes away, it's a real, significant loss, and it deserves to be grieved deeply. So let's talk about what does it exactly mean? How to grieve after such a significant loss. When we feel this deep sense of emptiness, this ache in a place where the part of you that was the wife is no longer. First and foremost, what we do not do is we do not pretend that this is not big. We don't pretend that, oh yeah, now let's, it's new chapter, new me. This is a brand new life and I'm ready just to be myself. Okay, slow down a little bit. Slow down, right? Let's close that other chapter with love and let's not rush. Like there's such a significant loss and such a significant pain. We're not gonna force ourselves into this new chapter, new me. We're gonna close that chapter with appreciation, with love, with deep gratitude, what was there. We're gonna take a look at the parts of your soul that felt extremely hurt because maybe it really wasn't fair at all what has happened to you. Right? Looking at that whole chapter of your life with a magnifying glass so that you can learn your lessons. You can pull out as much wisdom as possible because you don't want to leave such a big chapter unexamined. There are so many lessons in there, so many lessons in that pain that we can take a close look, and that will help us really close it down with a right attitude so that when you go forward, it doesn't matter if you're going to have a next relationship or not. You're going to walk away knowing yourself really, really deeply. You're going to see the patterns that have been in that marriage that has caused deep struggle, patterns within your soul, right? We're not going to examine so much the ex-husband. I mean, you absolutely can. If you want to have the next partner, you can take a close look at him and also at the parts of yourself that have attracted that specific person to you, right? The good and the bad. But this is all about you seeing you right now, and then you in the past that was going through the marriage, showing her appreciation, showing her love and gratitude, right? Because what do we hear in a society? People will say to us things like, oh, it takes time. You have to focus on yourself. Yes, that is definitely my message. And yes, it will take time. But the more you pretend like this is not a big deal, the longer you procrastinate this process, the longer it will take to move on. Because it's like you're dragging behind this open reality, right? And I'm suggesting close it. No need to be carrying that into your future. We can close it with the right attitude. There are ways to really close that chapter that will make you feel like, number one, you're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of the past you, the one that was in the past living in that marriage, struggling, experiencing the moments of joy, all of it, right? We acknowledge her, we honor her. The moments of deep struggle, we acknowledge that and we honor that too. She needs that to be honored and acknowledged. And we also take care of the future you by making sure that she in the future will not repeat the same mistakes. How do we do that? We learn the lessons from the marriage. We examine marriage. We examine you in the marriage so that you in the future, in the next relationship, will behave differently. We'll have a different relationship because of that. But before we get there, I want to talk about how and why is it that we feel like a part of us is dying. To some people, it's like it's such a dramatic metaphor, right? It's like you're over exaggerating. No, you're not over exaggerating. I want you to understand this is not an over exaggeration at all. Like when you really think about what has happened, you have most likely, as a wife, right? We all do that, especially when we say the vows, when we hold the hands together with our partner, we look them deeply at, in the eye. We have our family with us. His family is with us. This is an important moment. And there is a prayer. God is your witness. When you say these words, this is deep. Your soul is intertwined with that person at that moment, and it stays intertwined for the marriage, right? So, but it's also that whole identity of what unfolded after. Like you were the wife, you were the part of the couple. So first what we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge the specific parts that feel like they have died. And it's not enough to just say like my marriage has ended, because that's too generic. No, what has really ended? A friendship has ended. He was your friend, most likely your best friend, right? So this deep friendship has ended. The security of shared future, that has ended, right? The way he used to make you laugh about something really, really silly, that's no longer gonna be. It's no longer gonna happen. Is that he saw you for who you are and understood you in a very particular way, like no one else did in the world. He saw a part of your soul. And that's no longer, right? That deepest element of the friendship that we have with other people. When you are a good friend with someone, it's because they see you. They see you for who you are. And your ex-husband got to see all of you. Nobody knew you better than he did. He got to see you over the years in millions of different situations and vice versa. He got to see the beautiful parts of your psyche and the ones that are not so pretty, right? He did. And that's done. That particular way that you have been seen and acknowledged, that's gone. So huge. This is really, really big. I want to invite you to take a closer look at this. What were the moments when you felt really connected to him? It's good to see that. But also, what were the moments, and this might be easier to find, what were the moments when you realized that, because it's like there's the decision, right? And that's terrifying. And then life starts unfolding and you start seeing the consequences of the decision. And it, like the reality of it starts settling down. You start like recognizing like, oh my gosh, he is going to move out, or I am going to move out. I remember for me, it was a moment when my ex-husband was cooking, actually. The way how our house was set up was that my office, when you walked out of my office, you walked right into the kitchen. And there was one time, I remember one evening when I opened the door out of the office to go into the kitchen, and he was standing with his back to me, facing the stove. He was cooking something. And I remember that I walked out I looked at him, I saw him, and I thought to myself, I will not see this again. I will not see him in that kitchen cooking. That's when I realized what is really ending. You see, I have tears in my eyes when I think about this. Because that pain was so deep in that moment. It like just thinking about that situation brings me right back to that pain. And you know what? You know why I have this channel? You know why I'm a coach for divorced women? Because I've done the work. And you still see the emotion in my eyes. Because you can do the work and still have that emotion. It doesn't mean that poof, the emotion disappeared. No, it's big. I've been divorced for 2 years now. You know? And it's just like that moment that what's happening is that the emotion of the moment, it was such a heavy imprint energetically that I am just thinking about this. It takes me right there, you see? And the emotion there was so heavy that's why you have this, you see, if you can see over my glasses, hello, there were tears showing up. Okay. So what would be helpful? And the very first thing to do would be to grab a journal, sit quietly, and really list the specific losses that you have experienced. But we gotta see what it is that is no longer. So, what really has changed? What have you lost? That's the first question to answer. It will help us identify the exact location of the pain instead of it being just this general ache, right? And I want you to really think also about the things that you did together. You know, what were the things that made this marriage fun? Some of you will be like, there was nothing like that, Evelina. No, there was. In the beginning, for sure. There were things that you both enjoyed. That's why you got married to this person, right? Because there were things that you had in common that were strengthening this bond. So yes, there were. And the reason why I am suggesting that you do this is that there will be some things that you will want to continue undoing, and they will feel really odd in the beginning, right? Because he's no longer there. But like recognizing, like, hey, I still want to do this, even though I need to learn a different way of doing it because he's no longer there next to me. And when I do it now, I might feel more pain because I have all these memories related to us doing it together. That's one thing. But you also just know that it depends, right? It depends what it is. So, for example, let's say that you had this habit of going out on Fridays to this one particular restaurant. And now you're like, oh, yeah, I want to go back there because this is what we used to do. I want to go back there. And then you go back there and you sit, maybe in the same spot where you would always sit or nearby. And he isn't there with you. He is not there. So it's not the same. It's not even close to being the same. Right? In fact, it's awful because all you can think about is like this human being. It's not right there with me. Please don't do that to yourself. Don't do that because you're gonna feel lonely. You're gonna be surrounded by people, couples, people in groups, and there you're gonna be all by yourself, sitting at the table where you used to sit with your ex and thinking about how all the things that you used to do and he isn't there anymore. That's why we do this. We think that like if I go there and I eat that food again and I'm in that location and I'm surrounded by these noises and these people, then I will kind of feel like I'm back in that reality. But that doesn't happen because the most important element that was bounding you there and making that experience what it was is not there anymore. And so what you're gonna be experiencing is that reality, but without that person, with this instead, there's gonna be a huge voice there that your mind will be noticing, right? And be like alarming to your mind, like I'm familiar with this. That's what your lower brain will be doing. Like, I'm familiar with this, and this is the food, the sounds, the drinks, whatever, it's all the same. But this one person is missing. And because that change will be there, your brain will make it huge. It will like magnify that shift, will magnify the change to protect you. But that guarantees you having thoughts that will be very uncomfortable for you. So those kind of things, I strongly recommend absolutely don't do that. Do not do that to yourself, especially in the beginning. Do not go back to the places where you used to eat. Do not go back to like whatever you can avoid, just avoid on purpose. The places, maybe even the people, avoid it. This truly is about you stepping into a fresh reality, fresh world, right? So you can go back if you want to when you're ready. When this process of grieving and closing this chapter with gratitude and love is done and sealed and your heart is healed and healthy, that's when we can go back to the restaurant. But we're not gonna go back by ourselves and sit at the same table. No, we're gonna go back with a group of friends if we want to, right? Or with a new person. Like, we're gonna create a new experience there. We're not gonna try to go back in the past. That doesn't make sense. Please do not do that. Because some of you think that, oh yeah, if I go, no, that's not grieving. That's torturing yourself. So this is not about you forcing like a glow up and radical transformation. 1, 2, 3. It's not like this. There's a process that is unfolding on its own. You can hold your hand and walk yourself through it, but it's not going to be like this, okay? It's a gentle exploration. It's acceptance of who you are becoming, step by step by step. And please do not rush to fill the void, that emptiness that you feel within. I was talking about this in another video. That has actually a lot to do with us avoiding ourselves. That's why we feel so empty. But the emptiness can also be related to the grieving itself, right? We want to just acknowledge it and sit with it. It's okay to sit with it. That's the space where the new you will eventually grow. If the pain is really deep, some of us has this dynamic where we immediately want to go into another relationship, right? To fill that void. That has often to do with how we don't feel safe in this world on our own. And we feel like we must have a partner next to us for safety, like mental, emotional safety purposes. This is deep dynamic, deep dynamic. So consider this. If you have had that in your life where you're like immediately going and you just have this, like, you don't know why, but you have this deep inner need to be in another relationship, that's what this is about. Think about this for yourself. Am I really feeling safe here? Or do I feel like I must be connected to another human, right? I must do something external. I must connect to someone else. When you think about this, like when we trim a tree, right? And let's say that this tree loses a major branch. When you cut it, there's going to be an exposed part of the trunk, right? And it will look vulnerable. But over time, the tree doesn't like try to instantly grow a carbon copy of the old branch, right? It heals, it adjusts, and grows a new direction. It adapts. You are that tree. You are that tree. That's what happened. You lost a major branch. So you too can adapt. And going back to the sense of safety, we have to rebuild that, right? Because 99% of the time, our sense of safety is connected to our spouse. And now in this new place, you don't feel safe. So you need to build that sense of safety and certainty in your security from inside out. So that no matter what happens in your world, you feel secure within. You know that you are okay. So this is really not about you like forcing yourself to be this like fiercely independent woman. never needing anyone, right? And it can kind of unfold in that direction and often does, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about you knowing deep within that you are your own solid foundation. And how do you get to this place where you know that you are your own solid foundation? By developing self-awareness, by becoming your best friend, by knowing that no matter what happens, you've got your own back. By knowing that, you get in a new relationship and you fall in love with someone and then things go terribly wrong and your heart gets broken. You know that you're not gonna abandon yourself in that pain. No, you're gonna love yourself even more. You're gonna learn to love yourself fiercely. That's when you have that sense of inner safety, because it's like, I've got you, girlfriend. Like, I've got it. I've got it. I've got me. With all this pain, with all this heartbreak, I've got me. I have the courage to open my heart and love again, because I know that on the other side of it, when my heart gets broken, because listen, if you fall in love with someone, that's the risk that the heart will get broken. And the only way that the heart will not get broken is if you die before that person. See what I'm saying? Even if you get married and he's the love of your life and you're going to be together forever, the only way that your heart will not be broken is if you die before him. So when we walk into love, when we walk into that next relationship, we are guaranteed to experience pain, not only because the relationships bring that with them, right? Struggles and hurts, and that's normal, but the final ending of it, 50-50, can absolutely be where he dies before you and you have your heart broken. Now you have to grieve him. In all of that, in all the pains of the future relationship, in the possibility of him dying ahead of you and then you grieving him, in all of those scenarios, you being your best friend is the best possible outcome, that you see yourself and you don't abandon yourself in it. So you learning to grieve this, it's huge, huge. Because then when your mom dies, you're going to know how to take care of yourself. When your dad dies, same thing. Best friend dies. People are going to be dying around us. We're going to die eventually, but that is guaranteed, right? That we will be experiencing grief. Think about it like you're about to develop a muscle, a really good muscle that will serve you till the end of your life. Because loss is part of life. And there are the big losses and the small losses, but 100% that's going to happen. None of this, what I'm talking about, is a quick fix. There will be days that will feel heavier than others, right? There will be moments when the grief will just like wash over you again, where you will be out of nowhere. A memory of something will come to your mind and you'll be like, gosh, I thought I was over it. No, that's not how it works with grief. I remember seeing this description of grief somewhere, that grief is like a ball inside of a cube. And, like the ball sits in one corner and something gets shaken up and shows up in a different corner out of the blue. It's kind of like that, right? And you learn to live with this cube being shaken up by life completely unexpectedly, the ball, which is the grief inside of the cube, moving from one place to another unexpectedly, and all of a sudden you have the memory of something, you have the pain of something, and you just gotta learn to live with it. I think that's a really, really good metaphor. Really good metaphor for it. But anything that is difficult, anything that is hard, that is behind us, also is the reason why we are strong. So that marriage, that divorce, that loss that you're experiencing, you're also finding strength. What if the parts of you that you have in a way lost, right? The part of you that you had to develop as a best friend to your ex-husband, you don't show up in that version anymore because you're not best friends with him anymore, right? So like that part of you is gone. Of course, the part of you that was wife, that's gone. The part of you that was the lover, the romantic aspect of it, that's gone. When we think about them, think about it like cleansing. So if these parts of your personality have really died, then there's an open space, right? There's a cleansing that happens with the death. Things get cleared, and now you have an open space. And now you get to create in that space something new, someone new. And let that happen naturally. What I want to invite you to do is to, in the meantime, love on yourself. Learn to really love yourself so that whatever comes next is amazing. It's absolutely amazing because you have learned to love yourself so much that the next level of love that you bring in is truly the next level. It's truly the next level. We want to honor the memory of what was. We want to learn from what has happened. We want to pull out as much juice, as much wisdom as possible. And then, with courage, with grace, allow for the new shoots of your life to emerge. You've got this, girlfriend. I'm right here with you. If you have any questions, any comments, talk to me in the comments section. I'm here to answer any of it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Talk to you next time.